Hello and welcome to section 11.4. We're going to talk about circumference and arc length. And so far you guys probably have heard of circumference before, but arc length is probably going to be a fairly new topic. So what circumference is, it's the distance around the circle. And we're going to be using pi for this chapter a lot. So it says here that we're going to be using the pi button on your calculator and then round to the nearest hundredth place unless otherwise indicated. And what pi is, for those of you that don't know what pi is, so if we have our diameter, let's say that this is the diameter here. It's the ratio of diameters to circumference. If you take this diameter, you can wrap this diameter around the circle. If you like put a string or something, and it would go around the circle about three times. Technically it's 3.14159, and it goes on forever. Because it's an irrational number. There's not an exact amount of times it actually fits around, but it's close to 3.14 times. So 3 full diameters will wrap around, and then just like, a little bit more, a tenth more of that diameter. Okay, so here's your formula. You can either do pi times diameter, so 3.14 diameters gives you the circumference. So if you take, I think I said 3 of these diameters, it's going to give you the circumference. Or the diameter is 2 radii, and so you could do 2 pi r. So those are the formulas that you guys have probably seen before. So let's just dip into a sample question before we get to the more challenging questions with arc length today. It says find the indicated measure circumference of a circle with radius 9. Okay. So they want the circumference, and the radius is 9, so we're going to do 2 times pi times radius. We're going to use the 2 pi r formula. And as the book mentioned, we're going to be using the pi button, so I'm going to have my calculator handy when I'm making this video. So I'm just going to type into my calculator 18, and then I'm going to use the actual pi button, and then we have 56.548. So 5, I'm going to round the 8. So it's it was 548 on my calculator. Round that up to a 5 there. Round near hundredths, as they mentioned. Radius of a circle with circumference 26. So now they give us the circumference, and they want us to find the radius. So I'm going to use the r formula rather than the formula with the d in it. So I'm going to divide by 2 pi here. Now you have to be careful. When you put this in your calculator, you need to put this in parentheses. If you don't put that in parentheses, it's going to divide by 2, then multiply by pi. So we want to do 26 divided by, and then parentheses 2, and then the pi button. And radius equals 4.138, so 4.14. So yeah, that's something you want to be mindful of there. And then here's a multi-step problem. The dimensions of this car tire are shown to the nearest foot. How far does, so now we're going to round to the nearest foot there versus hundredths. How far does a tire travel? 15 revolutions. So I want to find 1 revolution, so the circumference, and then multiply that by 15. So circumference equals pi times the diameter, and I know the diameter here, if I just add up those lengths, are going to be 11 plus 15 is 26. And then I'm going to just take this answer here and multiply it by 15 revolutions. So 26 times pi times 15, I end up with 1,225.22. So I'm going to just leave that as that there. Okay, arc length. I'm going to talk about what arc length is. It seems like a very complicated formula. It's a portion of the circumference of a circle. It is a percentage. Okay, it's a percentage of the circumference. That's all it is. So if you can remember this, this will help you. This formula, and the reason why is because when I show you this formula, so here's what arc length is. It's like that there. This would be like arc length. It would be like how far it is from here to there. It's going to be in feet. It's going to be in inches. It's going to be in miles. It's going to have units attached to it. Arc measure. Now, arc measure, what that is how many degrees it is. And they are two similar but different, completely different topics. And so here are the two formulas that you're going to use. And I like this one better. I like this one a lot. Arc length is equal to a percentage of means to multiply of the circumference, 2 pi r. And this could be exchanged with c as well. You could replace that with a c, or you could replace it with pi times diameter. Either of these are exchangeable because all three of these things here are equal. This one here, this formula is a ratio or proportion method, and I'm not going to do this in the video. I don't like it, but if you want to do it, you can. Arc length divided by 2 pi r equals the measure divided by 360. Again, I'm not going to go about this. Some kids really like the proportion method, but I'm not going to be using it. Okay, so let's get right into some sample questions. So I'm going to explain this the best I can. So it says to find the length of the red arc. Okay. So here I have, so the arc length, so I'm going to say arc length, I'm going to say AL equals, okay, we have a percentage of the circumference, so percentage, we have 60 degrees out of the 360 degrees, because this arc measure here is 60 degrees. The measure is 60 degrees, the length we're looking for. So this basically is 1/6 of the circumference. So there's 6 of these pieces that make up the full circumference. And then 2 pi r, and I'm using 2 pi r because I have the 8 as the radius there. So that's all arc length is. It's a percentage, 60, and instead of being out of 100, we're out of 360 because there's 360 degrees in a circle. So I'm going to do 2 times pi times 8, and then I'm going to multiply that by 60, and then divide that by 360, and arc length equals 8.377, so 8.38, and this will be in centimeters. Okay, let's move on to the next one here. Does anything change from this one, A to B? No, they're the exact same problems. I'm not going to do that one. I'll do, I guess you can, I'll just set up. Arc length equals 60 divided by 360 times 2 times pi times 11. And then this one here is going to do the same thing. Arc length equals 120 divided by 360 times 2 times pi times 11. So this one, 120 over 360 is 1/3 of the circumference. So it's 1/3 of C, and that's what we're doing there. Okay. Let's do some different problems for you guys so that you can not see the same problem over and over and over again. Circumference, we want to find the circumference of the circle. Okay, so I know the arc length, and the reason why this is the arc length is because it's in inches and not in degrees. So maybe I'll put that AL is in inches, meters, miles, feet, etc. Arc measure is in degrees. And you need to know this as a student. When I say arc measure, it's in degrees. Arc length has some sort of unit. Okay, so arc length is 4.19, and that's equal to 40 divided by 360, because I have 40 degrees, so the arc measure is 40 out of 360 times, let's see, what do they give us? They give us, oh, they want us to find the circumference. So I'm just going to put a C there because we're looking for the circumference. That's the unknown there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to multiply both sides by 360 over 40. And what that will do is that will get rid of that right there and leave me with C. So I'm going to do 360 divided by 40 times 4.19. And that leaves me with C equals 37.71. And the units are going to be in inches. Okay, here we're looking for the measure of the arc. So measure, we're trying to find the arc measure. So the answer is going to be in degrees. RS, so RS. Now they tell me the arc length there, that's 44. So 44 equals x divided by 360, because I'm looking for the arc measure now. Normally they give us that, but they haven't in this. Times 2 times pi times the radius, and the radius is 15.28. So to solve this, I'm going to first multiply by 360 on both sides to get rid of that 360 right there. So 360 times 44, 15,840. And then that equals x times 2 pi times 15.28. I should actually just multiply those together and get one number there. Okay, so I'm going to do 15.28 times 2 times pi, and that is 96.007. So I'm going to go 96.001, I guess. 0, 1, yeah. Okay, and then I'm just going to divide that on both sides. So 15,840 divided by 96.01, and x equals 164.98. I think that they wanted that to be 96.00, and then it would have been 165 exactly, but I'm going to be precise and do what the book said, and the book said round to the nearest hundredths. Okay, all these other problems are going to be very similar. Let's see, I'm going to check where I'm at for time here on this video. Alright, so I am 12 minutes now, and so what I'm going to do is save this for our Google Meet, these 3 questions here. So if you want to tune in for some more example questions, there they are. But otherwise, here is your assignment. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you on the Google Meet.